wonder what West Ham fans would have made of that 45 had Sam Allardyce served it up.
Well, we know what they would have made about it. They would have been furious about that performance.
It's goalless so far. You're watching the Monday Night Football from us here at beIN Sports. No way through yet for the Hammers. Thoughts on what we've seen so far on the way?
Ball into his area and numerous half chances, if I could call them that. But apart from that, it's been frustrating for them. Huddersfield have been happy to sit in. Tom Ince's attempt there right on half-time. First shot that they've had anywhere near to the goal. So only attempt that they've had in the whole first half. So their plan is obviously, what we have we keep. And if we could maybe nick a goal late in the game, then they would very much take that. But they're defending really well. The two centre-backs who I talked about, Schindler and Zanka, have been excellent. I mean excellent. Physically, they've coped with Andy Carroll. They've won most of the balls with him, and I think that Andy would be a little surprised at how well both lads have done against him.
Chicharito's chance is one that you'd normally have expected to see him put away. We'll have a look at in a moment.
Well,
this is what they've done a lot.
This is the first minute. This is about the first minute, and he gets isolated with the full-back, and that's as good a chance. And who knows what would have happened, Richard, had that gone in, if Kouyaté could have got a foot on that at the back post. But it's been a succession of these. Again, Schindler again, a really good block in there with a header. And the two centre-backs have been absolutely fantastic. Another block on that header. He's a threat, you have to understand that. People know he's a threat, but these guys have defended really well against him. They've done their homework. I don't know if they knew Andy was playing, but it seems to me they had a little whisper, because they've done their homework on how to deal with him. When they've had long balls from free kicks, they've sat somebody in front of them, someone behind them, and said, go on then, if you can find that little gap in between us, good luck to you. So it's been tough for West Ham to find that. I think they're going to have to shorten that a little bit. I didn't think
Was that one of the good chances you were talking about?
Yes, first minute. And the other chance, obviously, Chicharito's chance was that. Well, for him, again, this is what Mikel Antonio, he's been the one, either side, that's looked like he could unlock them. I'm a little surprised he went narrow side. Do you know that? I thought it opened up from beautifully just to feed it towards the back post. Because the goalkeeper goes across, and I think here is empty. And for him, it's a golden chance. He loves this kind of thing. Just wrap your foot around it, send it wide of the far post, and just drop it in that far corner. I was a little surprised he went near post. And I think because there was bodies in front of him, he had to get it up quickly, and it just a little bit too early, but that was a great chance for him.
So far so good for Huddersfield. Can they do it for another 45 minutes?
There's nothing to say they can't, because they've not been under the caution respect that the goalkeeper's making save after save, or the defenders are making last-ditch attempts. What they're coping with is crosses and long balls into the box. And are they dealing with them comfortably? They really are.
So West Ham may be thinking about one or two changes. Slaven Bilic not yet off the mark this year, and a point here tonight is not what he was thinking about at the start of the evening.
No.
Nor will he be now. He'll want to win this. But Huddersfield are resolute and difficult opponents, and they'll be very happy so far.
Do I think Manchester United are as good as, say, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid? Would that be the four big ones you'd look at? Yeah. Are they right now as good as... They haven't proved that yet. They haven't, because he's built something. They won a couple of trophies last year, so they're moving forward. Do they have the individual talent? Yes, they probably do, to contest this tournament. And with the rub of the green, with a bit of luck, with the referee decisions going their way, there's absolutely no doubt in Mourinho's brain. There's absolutely no doubt, Richard, they could go a long way.
I've often said to you, don't listen to what he's saying. Try and work out what it is he's trying to say. When he took Porto to that title, they were nowhere near as good as certainly the best of the rest.
Not around.
But he won it. And that team weren't as good, surely, as the one that he's got now.
No, and his Inter side weren't the best side in the tournament the year he won it with them, if you remember. They had to dig in really deep, particularly in Barcelona when they were down to 10 men, and Mourinho put in a defensive masterclass, or organised a defensive masterclass. They frustrated Barca, and they went on to, beat Bayern Munich in the final, I think it was. And they weren't the best then. You don't have to be the best team to win the Champions League. You really don't. You sometimes don't even have to play the best team to win the Champions League, a statement you often make. It depends what the draw's like to you. You can be lucky. You can be very lucky in this tournament. They've got a good group, Manchester United. They should get through that, no problem, right? If they don't deserve anything. They should win the group. All being well, if they get a good draw in the last 16, before you know it, Richard, you're into the last 8. And there are still always 2 or 3 teams in the last 8 that you think, I'll take them.
It's this age-old cliche that you hear trotted out every time there's a different round of a cup competition. Well, if you're going to win it, you've got to beat the rest. Well, you haven't.
No, you don't.
Because if Bayern Munich beat Barcelona, you haven't got to worry about beating them, have you?
And Real Madrid or PSG play each other and knock each other out. You don't have to play them either. That's true. But Mourinho's got a side that's got potential still for me, because it's unproven, really. He's set it out. He's now picking maybe 7 or 8 players each game at the beginning of the season, which suggests that he's trying to get a bit of continuity into his side as well. Sensible, not chopping and changing.
You mean 7 or 8 regularly?
Regularly.
As he used to at Chelsea?
Yes, and I think that's a good thing. So he's going to be doing that. But this tournament, he knows it very well. He wants to win it again. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. Now, is it a year too early for them? Maybe. But I would still say, if I'm Manchester United manager, if I'm a Manchester United player, if I'm Pogba, if I'm Lukaku, if I'm Mkhitaryan, if I'm anyone like that, I want to win this, and I want to go as far as possible in this.
What about Paris Saint-Germain, who have been knocking on the door, disappointed or disappointing last year? Although I think if you remember their night in Barcelona. Well, you've often said, Andy, if you can't be good, be lucky. Were West Ham lucky tonight?
Yes. I mean, we were debating this prior to the game. What do you want tonight if you're Slaven Bilic? A result or a performance? The commentators were saying there they thought that West Ham were excellent. I didn't. I thought they were okay. But they weren't as good as Crystal Palace were yesterday, for instance. Crystal Palace were much better than that for me. They huffed and puffed a little. And when they looked like they were I got the impression they were just running out of belief and ideas. Just then, they get the huge chunk of luck. And that's the difference sometimes between a coach keeping his job and a coach losing his job.
As we said earlier, Frank de Boer, if Dan scores yesterday, we don't know.
We don't know.
But he didn't, and de Boer's gone. We don't know if Bilic tonight might have been the beneficiary of this huge deflection. But the 3 points take West Ham off the bottom. Doesn't change anything for Huddersfield at the top end.
But, you know, what we saw from Huddersfield is what we're going to get. A bit like Burnley. They try and play probably a little bit more short football than Burnley did. But they're very good, and they do. This is what I'm talking about. Obiang opens his body up, left foot. I'll just slide it there. That's gone miles wide.
In some ways, if he doesn't turn his back, if he just fronts that,
I know that.
Surely.
Yeah, it's one of my pet hates that footballers at that level turn their back on a football that really can't do you much harm. But who on earth thought that would hit him here and drop in that top corner? That's when you know. I think Slaven Bilic right at that moment thought, do you know what? Sometimes it pays to be a lucky manager as well as a good one.
Okay, we'll look more closely at what we've seen tonight in just a moment. Get reaction and share it with you as and when it comes here to our beIN Sports International Broadcast Centre. But West Ham are off the mark. They're off the bottom. 2-0, they've beaten Huddersfield. Very big night in that respect, wasn't it?
Yeah, huge night. Result was all that mattered for Andy Carroll, his mates, for Slaven Bilic. 3 points, pressure off. They looked edgy to me. I mean, they looked nervy, they looked edgy. It wasn't a fluid performance at all. It was anything but that, Richard. But it did the job. They got the job done. An own goal and a goal from a set play. It doesn't really suggest to me that they were overpowered.
It's not, again, I used the phrase at half-time, it's not quite the West Ham way, is it?
No, it's not.
Sometimes needs must.
That's it. I mean, that's extraordinary. Extraordinary. I mean, they worked the position okay. That's nice. That's better. That was nice football. And yeah, do you know what? I complimented the two centre-backs, Schindler and Zanka. And that's the one time where the big centre-half, you're right, should have been facing it up. If it hits him in the face, if it hits him in the stomach, if it hits him in the chest, so be it.
Well, if you look at that angle again there, Andy, that one, he's actually flinched and he's scared of football.
That's terrible.
That's a big centre-back.
That's poor.
That should surely be able to stand
if that ball goes
on.
and hits him in the face, he's getting paid fortunes to stand up there and defend. And, you know, maybe because he's turned his back on it, that he deserves that to happen. Maybe. But the rest of the night, I have to say, the two of them were terrific. And that was out of character. So I hope that David Wagner just takes him aside quietly, not with the rest of the guys, shows him that, and just says, listen, you want to be a better player, you want to go far, you want to be better than Huddersfield, then you can't do that. Get hit in the face, get hit in the chest. What difference does it make?
Don't mind Chicharito looking disappointed when he came off, but I'm sure he's probably thinking that should have been me when I scored.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I mean, this is just a scruffy goal. It's a decent ball in, I have to say. Cresswell, he drops into a lovely area, and Jose Font gets about half a yard. He makes a mess of it, really. It comes off his thigh. He doesn't really get any purchase on it, Font, when he gets there. And it looks like they've kept the ball out, but it only comes off a Meunier, who's at the front post. And I have to say, Jordan Ayew is very sharp, very aware of what was going on around him. And once that went in, you just thought, do you know what, that's going to be too much. First 2 goals have conceded this season, Huddersfield, and it would be in that manner. You know, they weren't ripped apart tonight. West Ham didn't create chance after chance and have the goalkeeper making all sorts of saves. You know, they defended really well, and West Ham got a good chunk of luck tonight to get that result through.
And here's the man who got the second goal tonight.
Really catching his